Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, I, 26F, kick my soon-to-be ex-friend, 25F, out of my house. Entitled ex-friend tries to invite themselves into my home and then turns scary strange when I say no. Conventions attendees turn up late for everything and have meltdowns when they can't get what they want. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I, 26F, kick my soon-to-be ex-friend, 25F, out of my house. As the title says, last week I kicked what I thought was a good friend out of my house because I can no longer handle her antics. Just want to write it here just to de-stress and deal with the grief of losing a friend. Kendall, 25F, and I met in university in 2016. We studied different majors but were from the same department, so we share many classes together and bonded over our passion for gaming and memes. Upon graduation, Kendall moved back to her hometown due to COVID and found a job there. We kept in touch online through Instagram. About 3 years later, Kendall told me she found a better paying job in the city, so she's planning to move out from her parents' place. When I asked her about her plans on her accommodations, she replied with, "That's the thing. I was going to ask if you have an extra bedroom that I could move into." For context, I have inherited an apartment from my late grandfather, which is a nice 3-bedroom 2-bath near the city center last year January, and I currently live alone there since it is closer to my workplace and it has all the convenience of public transport. After some thinking, I thought that there's no harm in living with Kendall since I considered us as close friends. We discussed the terms and OFC the rent. A week later, Kendall moved into my apartment. It was great at first. My home felt more lively than usual, and the thought of going home to a close friend warmed my heart and gave me a sense of security. Things were okay for a while, and then *T goes downhill super quick. Kendall started complaining about many things at home, about her work, her savings, and how she feels homesick. At first I was very accommodating, thinking maybe she just needs time to get used to the city life. I offered as much help as I can, even to the point of if she's low on money, I don't mind voiding a month's rent if it meant I could help her to achieve financial stability. I taught her how I save money, how I live off with my then low salary with several commitments like my car, my dog, and a student loan. I grew up where my parents expect me to be independent, so I told her things I do when I'm low on cash, how to get freelance jobs, etc., but she always seemed to have excuses for every suggestion I have. Finding a freelance job is too hard, or how she couldn't let go of her premium junk food, that she isn't willing to cook or meal prep, and I eventually decided to leave it as it is. And after 2 months of living together, I realized Kendall started treating me as some kind of competition. She would constantly ask me things like how much money I make a month, how many job hoppings did that take. Anything that she thinks she's better than me, she'll definitely pop that question. She boasts about how she is loyal to her *TTY paying company and how I would never be able to move up the corporate ladder, as she called me an industry frog. She once snooped my savings balance and asked how TF did I have so much saved up with commitments, etc. Mind you, she didn't have a lot of commitments since her parents paid off her student loans and fully paid off a brand new car for her, and maybe I should stop collecting rent from her. I got mad and told her if she isn't happy living with me, maybe she should move out. Cue crocodile tears as she said it was a joke, I didn't have to take her seriously. She begged for forgiveness and promised to never snoop my personal items and details again. I let it go once, but she kept bringing things up like, well, you have the cash and a credit card, every time I told her I rather stay home because I no longer have the budget to go out and have fun. Comments like these became more frequent when I got a new job 6 months ago. On top of that, she doesn't clean up after herself, tried to flirt with my boyfriend, and at times parked in my parking space when our initial agreement was that she has to find her own parking space if she's moving in with her own car because my apartment only has one parking lot per unit. The straw that broke the camel's back was when I caught her kicking my dog in his abdomen when I got home from work. I yelled at her and rushed to check my dog. Luckily he was fine, but I still rushed him to the vet for safety measures. I got home and she sneered that it was just a dog and as a friend I shouldn't treat her like that. I asked why she kicked my dog and she didn't answer me. She shrugged and tried to escape into her room. At this point, it was already about a year since Kendall moved in with me. I lost my cool and told her off, bringing up her problems and how I tried to be nice and accommodating. Then I told her I'm giving her a week to move out and that from then on I rather we keep our relationship casual or we don't ever talk at all. Kendall cried and begged me to not kick her out, but soon it turned into her screaming back at me, calling me a bad friend because apparently, in her words, I didn't tell her off on how badly she was behaving, like WTF? There was a lot of back and forth which I don't remember what I said, but I remember eventually calling her an entitled brat. She cried again, saying it was uncalled for, and stormed off to her room. The next day I was bombarded with texts from other uni friends, some calling me selfish and others sympathize with me. Apparently, Kendall posted our argument on Facebook and Instagram, painting me to be the bad guy. I was upset at first, but I decided that after Kendall moved out we would no longer be friends, as well as those who took her side of the story and condemned me. Last week, Kendall left, and I have changed the locks on my apartment. I curled up in bed and cried myself out, probably from the sadness of losing a friend, or maybe I am finally letting out all the frustrations. I am definitely still grieving about this loss of a friend, as I've had many good times with Kendall. For now I want to focus on myself and hopefully I eventually get over this. Edit: the whole teasing that I have more money than Kendall gotten worse when I told her I was given an offer by an MNC as a senior designer, and I disclosed her the offered salary, as we always did, like I know how much she earns too, which was about 50% more than hers. That was dumb on my part. I now understand why my parents told me to never disclose/discuss salaries the moment I started working. Your grief will slowly dissipate as time goes on. Be nice to yourself, treating yourself to nice diners, nights out, etc. By the way, you gotta pay the dog tax. We need a picture. How do I do that? Maybe I'll post it in my profile and you can have a peek at my OL boy. Per your post, I would think that Kendall is a user rather than an actual friend. You will need time to heal. I recommend that you seek short-term psychological counseling to help and maybe find out how to more effectively set and enforce personal boundaries. I'm planning to look into those as well, if I could afford them. But for the time being I'll try to find comfort in spending time with Doggo, my BF, and drowning in my hobbies. If I were you, I'd be telling everyone she was hurting your dog. That would probably swing some opinions real quick. Entitled ex-friend tries to invite themselves into my home and then turns scary strange when I say no. I had a friend, past tense as recent that I had known for just about 40 years. Yes, I am old, shut up. We had kept in contact over the years and it was nice until it turned strange. I currently live in a tiny, one-bedroom apartment in a small city. As part of my lease with the rental company, I agreed to never have overnight guests. Like at all. 0 guests. About 6 months ago, a friend of mine asked if they might come stay with me whist on holiday. At the time, I was dealing with my mom dying in hospital, another family member had the plague that's still going round, and I was also starting to pack to move to my new place. I explained that I would love to see them but, at that time, could not accommodate them in my home due to the reasons above. They got pissed and ended the conversation, ghosted me for about 3 months. Last week, friend contacted me out of the blue, and we were having a nice chat until the end when they again mentioned coming on holiday. Again I said I would enjoy seeing them for a visit but could not accommodate them, this time due to my new lease not allowing overnight guests. Friend again got pissed and went on a bit of a rant. I tried to explain that it is a new apartment and I don't want to break the rules, but they were still pissy about the whole thing. Now this is where things took a definite turn for the bizarre. After a 15-minute rant about my not being able to have them stay, my now former friend suddenly switched gears and started nattering on about society coming to an end and the dark forces taking over the country and how I was either with friend and his group, company, cult, or against them. They kept insisting I needed to join them in. They mumbled something at that point to prove my loyalty. Crazy? Maybe. Entitled, I think so, more than slightly terrifying, hell yes. I have since blocked them on all forms of contact and am actually very relieved that they don't know my new address and that my new apartment has 2 security guards on duty 24 hours a day. So am I paranoid, or does this seem more than a bit strange to you too? It is my unprofessional opinion that the ex-friend is bonkers. The end of the world as we know it may be here, but what does that have to do with crashing at your place? I think he's confused. Maybe he just wanted to check if you'd been bit by a zombie yet. You are wise to block that person. They have issues, not the least of which is inviting themselves places. Might have been an intimidation tactic because they didn't get what they wanted twice. In your former friend's twisted mind, they thought if they scared you enough, you might let them stay. Conventions attendees turn up late for everything and have meltdowns when they can't get what they want. For a bit of context, if you have never attended a convention, they normally have different levels of pricing which affords you more benefits, for example better seating in the panels, getting to go for photos first, etc. At this convention they had a VIP ticket which gave an additional benefit of being able to check your photo ops and have your photo retaken if you were unhappy with it or the quality was poor. This is rare as many conventions don't allow this as they're photographing hundreds of people in a very limited time slot. There were a couple of attendees who had these VIP tickets. When they were called up for the main actor, who also had to leave early, they didn't show up. The next level of tickets were called, they still weren't there. They eventually waltzed in and walked up just as the staff were calling for bronze ticket holders, the last category before the mad rush of general. Of course the photos went poorly, one of them had a camera flare on her glasses, and they proceeded to have a meltdown because they were told they couldn't have a reshoot because general ticket holders had now been let up and they had about 30 minutes left to photograph approximately 200-300 people. One of them was so upset they sat on the floor outside hysterical and somebody bought him another photo op. Later on in the day they did the same but with the autographs. Same deal. They turned up late and then complained when the handler of an actor told them to move on when they were trying to talk to him even though there was a queue of people and they needed to finish everything up for the actor's early departure. They just had no respect for the actors, the staff of the convention or other attendees. All because they believed the VIP ticket let them do what they want. This is also not the only story I have of these entitled idiots. I may share the other at a later date. I worked a similar type of event where they had VIP packages and everyone else. There were panels with celebrities and the VIPs were let into the venue first to get seats and then everyone else would fill in the remaining seats. During the last and biggest panel of the day the venue was at capacity and a group of VIP package holders rolled up 20 minutes after it started and were incensed that they were not let in due to the venue being full. I got with some satisfaction in explaining to them the difference between priority access and exclusive access as the terms of their package had defined. On the convention topic, can we have special mention to the annoying people who talk loudly through the talks at conventions? We've all paid good money to see and listen to our favorite stars, and you're having a full-blown conversation with a mate. A VIP ticket has a time limit. It does not mean you are actually a VIP. Instead of VIP, these tickets should be called early access. Terms to include: once general access has been called, early access is over. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.